And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to take a look at one of the other Nestorgames abstract games. This one is Web of Flies. You can see here, indicated by this little spider on it, you're going to be playing a race of spiders, or you're going to play a group of spiders that have some legs or more legs, one-legged spiders and eight-legged spiders, and some of them are weak and some of them are strong, but the objective is to have your eight-legged spiders outlast those of your opponents. It plays anywhere from 2 to 4 players. I'm going to show you the 2-player variant of the game, but real quick we'll see what you get inside of this little tube and how that game plays with 2 players, and then we'll come back and get my final opinion on Web of Flies. So here you can see the components set up for Web of Flies. Now we're set up for a 2-player game, and I have to say I think Web of Flies is an awesome name. But we're set up for a 2-player game. The game can play 3 or 4. The only difference being that there will be less pieces from each player, or potentially more flies and or more flies. But let's just go ahead and look at the 2-player game. Each player in the 2-player game has 16 spiders on this web. They have spiders, 2 of them with 1 leg, and then there's 2 of each other type of spider, all the way up to 8 legs. So we'll see we have 2 spiders with 8 legs for each of the players. And then there are 5 neutral flies that are randomly placed on the board, along with the random placement of all of the other pieces. The idea here is to capture all of your opponent's 8-legged spiders first. Or, if you can end the game in a position where nobody can move, to have the most 8-legged spiders left, and if there's a tie, the most 7-legged, and so on. On a player's turn, they're basically going to capture a piece from their opponent. They are required to capture a piece. It can either be an opponent's, or it can be one of the neutral flies. Maybe you don't want to capture one of your opponents because it puts you in a bad position. So, early on, you're going to, start out playing, and you're going to realize that these 8-legged spiders are very important. Not only are they the most powerful spiders, but they're also the pieces you're trying to protect. And I say they're the most powerful because a spider can capture any other spider of your opponent's that has equal or less legs. So the only spider that can capture an 8-legged spider is another 8-legged spider. Anybody can capture a fly. Now the rules for movement are as follows. You can move any number of spaces in a straight line, over empty spaces, which there are none of right now, or over your own pieces. So this guy right here could move over this 3-legged spider to capture this fly if he wanted to. Or this guy right here could move over this 8-legged spider to capture this 5-legged spider if he wanted to, because he's got 6 legs. But you cannot move over one of your opponent's pieces or over a fly. Not allowed. So on your move, you're going to look and see, how can I take a piece of my opponent's that's important to them? And usually these are going to be the more legs. So the more legs, the better. So let's say green goes first. The first thing he wants to do is make sure that there are no 8-legged spiders in his row. So you'll look here and there's no 8-legged spiders he can get to. And he'll look here and there's no 8-legged spiders that he can get to that way. He also wants to make sure that his 8-legged spiders aren't in danger. So there's no 8-legged spiders here and there's no 8-legged spiders. Well, here's one. So he's going to look at this and say, okay, this guy could potentially get my 8-legged spider, but he can't because he'd have to kill this guy first because he can't jump over him. So he's protected from that right now. So the guy's going to say, okay, what's the best spider I can take? Well, I want to take this 7-legged spider with my 8-legged spider. It doesn't put me in danger from another 8-legged spider, and it gets a pretty powerful spider off the board. So he captures that piece and sets it aside. And then the next player goes, and he says, okay, well, I want to eliminate good spiders as well. I'm going to move this 8-legged spider right here. Or am I? Well, yeah, I'm still protected by this 4-legged spider. This 8-legged spider can't take me. We're good to go. This 8-legger also can't take me because I'm protected by the 5-legger here. So he kills that spider. Now red has a dilemma. Green has a dilemma. He is in danger from this 8-legged spider on red's next turn. So he wants to get this spider out of the way. Another problem though is that this 8-legged spider is also in danger from red's 8-legged spider. So he's gotten a fork here. He's going to lose one of his 8-legged spiders unless there's some weird drastic move he could make that would stop it, but I'm not seeing one right now. So he's probably going to want to get one of these out of the way and make a big capture with it if he can. So he's going to look and he's going to say, well, I can get a 2-legger or I can get a 4-legger. This guy can get a 6. Well, that's pretty much the best I can do, so he's going to move this guy out of the way and get a 6. And then red's going to say, hey, you got an 8-legged spider, killed him, we're good to go. And you'll see in this manner, eventually you're going to lose 8-legged spiders, and you're going to lose better spiders as the game goes on. And the first person to, in this manner, maneuver around, use the neutral spiders to prevent fork-like moves like that if they can, is going to be the winner by getting rid of their opponent's 8-legged spiders. Well, there you have it. That is Web of Flies, that I keep wanting to call House of Flies, but Web of Flies. The game, pretty good. I mean, it's a decent little abstract. I think there's some slight issues with it. They aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be at first, but I still think it has a little bit of a tendency to lean towards utilizing your 8-legged spiders the most, and of course, moving them around a lot. And so you end up moving a lot of the 8-legged spiders and kind of ignoring some of the lower-end spiders. Now, this won't always be true. Sometimes you won't want to use the capture that you have with your 8-legged spider, but a lot of the time you're going to be moving him around because he's the strongest spider you have, and if he's in the way of somebody else's 8-legged spider, you're definitely going to want to get him out of there to keep yourself in the game. So there's a lot of tendency to focus on those pieces and kind of hyper-focus on them and ignore the 1-legged spiders because, well, what are they going to do? Or ignore the 2-legged spiders because, well, they can only take the 2 or the 1s. But they do come in handy every once in a while, and I won't say that they're completely useless or that the game's broken because you move the 8-legged spiders a lot. I just think it kind of hyper-focuses on that aspect of the game. I think there are other abstracts that do the whole capture thing a little bit better. I mean, there's tons of capturing abstracts. I'm not going to list them all off, but you can look them up. But this one does a decent job. I think the components are cool and the theme is great. I just think that it's a little bit weighted in terms of one strategy. And so with that said, I'm not going to be keeping this game in my collection. I don't think it's a bad game. I just can't afford a place in my collection for it. But I think it's one that other people might find interesting for the gameplay, for the fact that it plays anywhere from 2 to 4, and for the theme. So if that sounds good to you, check it out. Web of Flies, Web of Flies from Nestorgames.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.